Okay, so now you're a leader, but what are your responsibilities? Stay tuned. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, we inspire. We're in our series, Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun, based upon the book by Wess Roberts, PhD. He's given us a lot of great pointers. We're going through some of the nuances of leadership and some of his points, and then we're trying to show how that they apply on a practical basis, just to make the understanding that much clearer. Okay, let's get right back to it. Responsibilities of a chieftain. It has been my observation over the years that nations, tribes, and lesser bands rise and fall on the strength of their leaders and on the ability with which their leaders carry out their responsibilities of office, seeking first the good of the people. The corruption of the empire is largely a result of the glamorous yet empty life its leaders seek to lead. They have lost their sense of national purpose and employ foreign armies to carry out the responsibilities incumbent to the Roman legion. They seek to gain office and stature by political maneuverings, casting aside personal standards of excellence and achievement, and high expectations for unity. Their leadership is, therefore, based on weakened foundations and shallow loyalties. While we are a young nation as a unity of tribes, we have strong traditions that tie us mystically together. We must use this delicate alliance as the basis for powerful, lasting bonds that better serve our collective destiny. Our leaders, you chieftains and valued warriors gathered here this night, must learn the responsibilities of office. As many of you are unschooled in what I, Attila, consider to be the responsibilities of leadership, I now grant you my counsel on this subject. Here's the first one. Chieftains and leaders in every subordinate office are responsible for establishing the atmosphere in which they lead. This atmosphere may have periods of change even as the seasons change. Nonetheless, unlike our lack of influence over the weather, our leaders can and must influence and control the spirit of our tribes. Leadership is everything. And you can be the leader of, you don't have to be the president, but you can be the leader of a group of people. Sort of like, if you're like a coach, all right? In basketball, one of the things that I learned from one of my coaching mentors, a gentleman named Bruce Kint, was how important the unity factor was. He would always sit down with the people, with the players, and say, "You did this great, let's give them a hand." All right, even if it's something, a little bit that, people in basketball, they look for the guy that's doing the scoring. That's the big shot. But what about the guy that sets the screen? What about the guy that makes the pass? What about the guy that broke the press? What about the guy that made the steal? These things don't make it to the forefront. But you as the leader, as the coach, want to create a unifying spirit. And when you do that, you point out the little necessary details that are essential to the team's success, and you recognize that and you give the person a hand, and that creates unity among the tribe. True in basketball, very true in business. Leaders are bound by the traditions of office to establish and follow the order under which their Huns are judged, rewarded, punished, and constrained. Without such order known to all Huns, the people will live in chaos. There are certain principles that we have to adhere to that are written in stone. These are the laws of the land. Otherwise, we're living in chaos. You're driving and on an empty road and there's a traffic light and the light is red, you don't see any cars, you stay until the light turns green. It may sound dumb, but you got to follow the laws of the land. Otherwise, something unexpected will happen and boom, there you are in a crash. And I'm speaking that about cars. I'm also speaking that about laws that are written in stone within a certain organization. Let me give you an example. When I was coaching basketball, the little kids, I'm in the little kids. Kids are freshmen, sophomores, so on and so forth. They see the guys on TV. They want to make the behind the back pass. They want to make the long pass. One of the first things I always did, and these kids, these are, 13, 14, 15-year-old kids. They're not super strong. And I would always say, all right, what I want you to do is I want you to take the ball and I want you to pass it all the way down the other end to the guy at the other end of the court. And invariably they would do that and the ball would come nowhere near their intended target. And then I would say, okay, now you had nobody guarding you. You couldn't get the ball where it was supposed to go. We don't have that pass. I don't want to see it. You make 2 passes, not 1. If you go all the way down the court, you don't do that. Are we clear on that? We don't do the behind the back pass, and I have them do that, and the ball goes all over the place. You follow what I'm saying? So you have to have certain laws, certain philosophies based upon the people that you're working with. Very simple, the laws of the land. By their own actions, not their words, do leaders establish the morale, integrity, and sense of justice of their subordinate commanders. They cannot say one thing and do another. Leading by example. It's kind of as simple as that. When I was coaching basketball, one of the things I would do, and kids love this, all right, was we'd have a challenge, and one of the things I would say, all right, if he makes this, shot, then I will run a couple of sprints. If he doesn't make the shot, guess what? And then the kids would go, we have to run sprints. All right. So I would have a guy, put him up to the foul line, and everyone's going, come on, make it. You're building team unity. All right. And when the guy missed it, all right, I would always say, hey, team unity. All right. And everybody go, hey, good try. Nice shot. We'll get it next time. And then they get on the line to run. On the other hand, when the guy made the shot, everybody went, yes. The coach has got to run, okay? And I ran, and they loved it. It's a bonding experience, all right? Lead by example. Leaders must establish a high spirit of mutual trust among subordinates and with their peers and superiors. Here's something that's critical for leaders to understand that I have found that is not frequently the case. Trust is a two-way street. You have to be able to be trusted. Your people will not follow you if they don't trust you. And you have to trust them. Now, are you going to get let down sometimes? Yeah. But so what? So you go out on dates. You're not going to marry every woman that you go out on a date with, Eli. All right? So sometimes it doesn't work out. But you still do the right thing. Trust is a two-way street. When you trust them, that just cements the bond that you have with that person. When you give them an assignment and you say, all right, the ball's in your court, run with it. I trust you to make sure that we're going to get the expected results. Trust is a two-way street. Don't forget that as a leader. You have to be trusted and you have to trust your people. Leaders must attach value to high standards of performance and have no tolerance for the uncommitted. If you want to be a leader, if you want to advance in the company, if you want to advance a cause, you got to be willing to go the extra mile. The people that aren't, that are the clock watchers, that are the salary mentality. I remember we had a guy that we worked with, and he got off at, let's say 5 o'clock. And at 4:30, we'd say, we need you to do this. And he goes, hey, I'm off in a half an hour. Okay, you can get the job done in 15 minutes, but I'm off in a half an hour. He's not committed. This isn't a person that you want to thrust responsibilities to. Do you understand what I'm saying? The other thing is, when you go the extra mile, you are showing that commitment. Leading by example. Go the extra mile. Leaders must expect continual improvement in their subordinates based on new knowledge and experiences. When someone has made strides, You need to make sure that they understand that you're looking at them in a different light. It's much the same as, give you a ridiculous example, all right, you have a little kid and the little kid is wearing diapers, and then the little kid learns how to go potty. Well, once he learns how to go potty, hey, if the kid goes in his pants, it's like, I'm so disappointed. I'm very disappointed. You know how to do that. That's something you know how to do. We expect you to do that. And people will do what you expect of them. People evolve and you get what you expect. Leaders must encourage creativity, freedom of action, and innovation among their subordinates, so long as these efforts are consistent with the goals of the tribe or the nation. There are some leaders out there that say, do everything exactly this way all the time. You know what? The people that are on the line, there's different nuances, different ways of getting things done, different rules that you have. But sometimes you want to do something a different way. It will expedite the scenario. Give the people a chance to be creative, give the people a chance to be innovative, and encourage that. Encourage that. Did you know that most of the great trend-setting ideas don't come from leadership, but actually come from the rank and file? And if you are not somebody that's encouraging the rank and file to come up with creative and innovative ideas, you're missing the boat, my friend, because that's where the best ideas come from. They don't come from leadership. They are embraced by leadership. Somebody will put something in the suggestion box and say, wow, that's a great thing. But the idea will come from the field, from the rank and file. So be clear that you want to encourage creativity and innovation. Leaders must provide direction to their Huns, never letting them wander aimlessly. Okay, here's the point. People have to always have the big vision, the mission right here, right in front of them. They have to see that. Everything they do, we're dedicated to the mission first. That's the first thing that we're dedicated to, is the mission. How is my action coinciding with the mission? Is it helping us move in the right direction? Always remind people of their mission. When a mistake is made, say, is that moving us forward to achieving that goal that we have, that we've agreed to have? Clearly it isn't. Make sense? Be clear on your mission. Share the vision, sell the dream. Chieftains realize greater recognition and booty than their Huns. I, Attila, expect therefore more from them than from their people. You expect more from leaders than you do from followers. They are more committed, they are more advanced. Follow what I'm saying. Chieftains and subordinate leaders must learn the responsibilities of their office. Without such knowledge, how the heck can they fulfill their duties? You got to remember that people in leadership positions are paid for results. You're not paid for the laboring yourself. You're paid for the results. So it doesn't matter how you get there, as long as it's virtuous. All right? Doesn't matter how you get there, but you're not paid for doing the work yourself. You're paid for getting the results. Sometimes you have to do some of the work yourself. But most of the time, as a leader, your job is to motivate and give direction. And at the end, we judge you by results, not the time that you spent performing the function. Chieftains must teach their Huns well that which is expected of them. Otherwise, Huns will probably do something not expected of them. All right, you're talking about a leader giving direction to somebody. Bob Anderson, my main mentor, used to always talk about CCDD, clear, concise, definite direction. What you do is you say, this is what we want to accomplish. Then you have the person repeat it back to you so that you ensure that it is clear, that there's no miscommunication. Too many times a leader will say something to a person or a group of people and they'll have 9 or 10 different objectives that aren't what the leader wanted to have. So what you want to do is you want to focus and make sure that you're giving clear, concise, definite direction. Chieftains must inspect their Huns frequently in order to see that what is accomplished meets with what is inspected. Big sign in my office: expect to inspect, inspect to expect. You must make it clear to the people that you're working with what is expected, and then you inspect to see that it's being accomplished. And then you look at it at the end and you make sure that you got what you expected. Expect to inspect, make it clear, this is what I expect, and then inspect to expect. Inspect to see what was going on to make sure that you're getting what you expected. This is critical in leadership. It's the number one rule. Chieftains should never misuse power. Such action causes friction and leads to rebellion in the tribe or nation. Sometimes in your group of people, you're going to have somebody that's a weasel, that does this, that does that, whatever. Give the person the appropriate punishment, but do not be petty in doling out that punishment. Be just, but don't be petty. When you're petty, that lowers you down not one notch, but several notches. Leaders need to be above that. You have to be above that. You always have to be thinking about the greater good and not seeking revenge through pettiness with somebody that may have done something wrong. If they need to be fired, fire them. Okay? But if not, then you need to move on. You need to continuously be productive. Chieftains make great personal sacrifice for the good of their hunts. Leaders eat last. It's a book by Simon Sinek. Great book. I strongly recommend you read it. If there's a sacrifice to be made, make sure that the rank and file see that you're willing to sacrifice if you're going to ask them to sacrifice. Leaders lead by example. Chieftains must not favor themselves over their Huns when supplies are short. Leaders eat last. Lead by example. Be willing to sacrifice if you're going to ask others to sacrifice. Chieftains must encourage healthy competition among their people, but must contain it when such becomes a detriment to tribal or national goals. Competition equals cash. It certainly does. But you have to keep the competition under control. It's got to be under control. Because what happens is you can start having some pretty unsavory trash talk, which creates problems within your group. You got to keep that under control. Make sure the trash talking is friendly trash talking. But competition equals cash. Get people competing against each other. Chieftains must understand that the spirit of the law is greater than its letter. Sometimes you got to stretch a little bit towards the line. There's a certain line you don't cross over. And that involves out-of-the-box thinking. How are you going to accomplish something? Out-of-the-box thinking. It's a critical thing, but you have to be willing, as Thomas Edison said, we don't have any rules around here. We're looking to accomplish something. Well, you can't say that exactly, but you have to be willing to kind of step away. All right, kind of a good example of that I think of is, the Chicago Bulls, when Michael Jordan was in his heyday, they had a player named Dennis Rodman who was quite the, I don't know, if I say oddball, I may not be saying it enough, and he had some contributions to make. He was a big part of the team, but he also had some ridiculous habits. Well, the coach would allow him just a little, to stretch a little bit away from normal as long as he came through when the time was there. So you got to make a judgment along those lines. For exceptional performers, sometimes you have to stretch a little bit. And always remember, getting the results is the key thing. There's a line, be careful not to cross it, but don't be afraid to approach it. And don't be afraid to think out of the box. Chieftains must never shed the cloak of honor, morality, and dignity. Yeah, there are going to be decisions that you have to make. Always remember that trust is one of the top things that you have between you and your people, how you get them to perform. If they trust you, and you have to be trustworthy to virtue. You can't be doing things that are clearly wrong to get something accomplished. You've got to think of a different way. You've got to be trustworthy to virtue. Chieftains must never form selfish relationships and therefore take advantage of their subordinates, peers, or superiors. Let me put that a different way. No fraternization. Fraternization never works. It always will come back and bite you on the backside. I've seen it happen 9 zillion times. I've never seen it work out. Always something will happen. People will make decisions based upon a relationship instead of what's best for the organization. Can't have that. No fraternization. No fraternization. It never works. Chieftains must hold a profound conviction of duty above all other ambitions. Always remember what you're there for. Always remember why you're leading. I guess my time is up. We're going to stop right there. Next time we get together, some more leadership secrets. We're going to talk about being decisive. As a matter of fact, it's such a big subject, it's going to be in 2 parts, because being decisive as a leader is absolutely critical. And until that time, always remember, hey, don't ration the passion, fashion the passion. I'm Eli's dad.